Dear friends and colleagues, saudade, this melodious Portuguese word that evokes a sweeter form of nostalgia, grows inside me in this moment. I should have been there with all of you, sharing in person the commemorative symposium on Professor Carlos da Silva Lacaz centenary, to which I was kindly invited by Professor Carlos Taborda and the organizing committee. Unfortunately, familiar circumstances prevented me at the last hour from traveling to São Paulo to join the festivity. However, I was given the opportunity to share with you a few minutes by using these modern systems of communications, an occasion that translates into a time of personal recollections. My first visit to Brazil occurred in 1979 when a young and promising scientist from a small town in São Paulo state, Marcelo Franco in Botucatu, invited both my husband and colleague Felipe San-Blas and me to participate in what was to become the first of a string of international meetings on paracoccidioidomycosis, event that continues to this day in elaborate fashion at a more or less 3-year intervals. Young as we were, and starting our careers in biochemical and genetic aspects of paracoccidioides dimorphism, I was flattered by the invitation to deliver a conference and shaking from doing so in front of prominent Latin American researchers on medical mycology. Also flattered I became when landing at São Paulo's Congonhas airport. Guarulhos was still a dream into the future. We learned that Professor Carlos da Silva Lacaz, himself head of the world-renowned São Paulo Institute of Tropical Medicine, was there waiting for us, an unexpected honor for 2 young Venezuelan researchers who were trying hard to make their way in a field mined with physicians, not always pleased to see their traditional medical arena invaded by biologists of the new age. So that Professor Lacaz was there at the airport waiting for us was interpreted, rightly so, as a signal of open-mindedness, a belief that we were later to extend to all participants in the first encontro on paracoccidioidomycosis in Baja Bonita. In this way, we became personally acquainted with Lacaz and his exuberant personality. From then on, we met in numerous times and built a strong friendship based on mutual respect and admiration. We shared a dedication to fungi, although from the different and complementary fields of medicine and clinics on his side and biology in ours. We also shared an interest in history, particularly with regards to our Latin American countries. The weight of history and the influence of politics in the pursuit of academic excellence, the way politics impacted the university life, were a permanent source of concern to Lacaz, as has been for our rather frequent disagreements on the interpretation of such facts were always respectfully sorted out in elegant fashion and are kept in my memory as warm remembrances of times gone. His knowledge of the history of Latin American mycology, of which he himself was main actor, became for me a pivotal source of information when I was invited by Professor Ricardo Negroni to deliver the Isham Oration Conference at Buenos Aires in the year 2000 about such history. Enumerating Professor Lacaz's achievements would take many more minutes than I have been allocated. In any case, they have been or will be displayed by others in this symposium, so there is no need to be repetitive. The simple fact that a centennial commemoration like this one was planned is a distinction that speaks for itself of Lacaz's merits, worth of him being remembered as one of the most influential medical mycologists in Latin America. My mycological bond to Carlos da Silva Lacaz was mainly through Paracoccidioides brasiliensis, a fungus that made its debut in the annals of the Latin American medical mycology by way of Adolfo Lutz 7 years before Lacaz was born in 1915. Paracoccidioides, to which my husband and I devoted our scientific career, turned out to be the agent of one of the most relevant fungal diseases of the region in terms of frequency and devastating consequences both for patient and society. Lacaz's interest in paracoccidioides, among other fungi, opened a field that to this day has never ceased to grow. I have the fantasy to speculate on the joy, or perhaps the refusal, who knows, that Lacaz would have experienced when the single species Paracoccidioides brasiliensis duplicated itself into Paracoccidioides lutzii as a cryptic species within the genus. Unfortunately, by 2006, when the first body of evidence on the matter dawned on researchers, Lacaz had been dead for 4 years. Being a physician, I envisage his first questions referring to the clinical significance of 2 or more species as agents of paracoccidioidomycosis, wondering if the newly born P. lutzii was really a new species or just another strain of P. brasiliensis in a mutated dress, if the disease may have different medical expressions, or indeed if the disease could be defeated or controlled with the same medical armamentarium or clinical protocols. I have no doubt that his inquiries would have taken this road to comply with the Hippocratic oath to which he was obliged, one of its main apothegms being primum non nocere, first of all, do no harm, a maxim that Lacaz always had in mind to act accordingly. It is my conviction that all Latin American mycologists, whether medical practitioners, basic or clinical researchers, are somehow heirs, beneficiaries of Lacaz's huge scientific production, in the sense that our knowledge stands firmly on information provided by our predecessors in the field, Lacaz being one of the most remarkable in Latin American medical mycology. As far as we are concerned, the staff of the mycology lab of the Venezuelan Institute for Scientific Research frequently resorted to his papers in the search of better culture conditions, choice of strains, and other parameters that could promote the generation of exciting results in our projects. It is with a sense of nostalgia, saudade again, that I dream of a chit-chat with Lacaz that goes this way. Following our common interest in Latin America's political and historical issues, I would comment on the difficult times Venezuelans, and particularly Venezuelan scientists and university staff, endure in this so-called revolutionary era, a timing at which academic merits have been substituted by compliance to the regime as presentation card for scaling the academic ladder. Lacaz's reply would go in the way of disapproving in such state of affairs, based on the veneration he always professed to science and academy. At the same time, in this fanciful conversation, he might advise to keep fighting against such turns of events in order to make academy prevail above all other considerations. I will not fail you, dear professor, would be my answer to him. Today's tribute to Professor Carlos da Silva Lacaz stands as his legacy of wisdom acknowledged for the younger generations of researchers involved in fungal biology, clinical research, and medical mycology. My call to them goes in the sense of preserving his legacy while passing it to the new generations to come. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to express my affection for Professor Lacaz and share with all of you this commemoration, albeit at a distance. My very best to you all. Enjoy the evening party. Saúde, salud, cheers.